If, in the next 10 seconds, you could see the chessboard of your life with absolute clarity, half the habits you cling to today would vanish. You'd stop nodding just to avoid being disliked. You'd stop staying silent just to keep the peace. And most importantly, you'd stop making decisions that quietly strip away your advantage at work and in life. The Stoics called it mastery of the mind. Machiavelli called it clarity ruthless, undeniable clarity. Here at the Stoic Habit, we don't talk about feeling better, we talk about doing better. And today, I'll give you 9 tactics to think like a strategist. So by the time you leave this video, you'll be able to say with confidence, I know my next move. I can no longer be led. If this resonates, stay with us, subscribe, and walk this path of strength and clarity every single week. I'm Jason. Let's dive right in. Chapter 1. Outcome. First, begin with the result, not the emotion. Today we live in a culture of instant reaction. Slack pings, you reply. A tweet attacks, you fire back. Your boss asks a question, you rush to say something, anything, just to fill the silence. Most people think with feelings first, then scramble to find reasons later. But the clear thinker flips the sequence: outcome first, emotion after. Let me tell you a story. 2008. Wall Street was on fire. Crowds panicked, selling everything in fear. But one young fund manager pressed his hand on the cold table and asked himself, 12 months from now, what am I optimizing for? Not for comfort tonight, not for the relief of following the herd. He optimized for survival and for position. So he held cash long enough to buy the assets others dumped in panic. He wasn't a genius. He was disciplined, loyal to the future over the present. That same principle guided Warren Buffett. His rule number 1: never lose capital. Not flashy, not exciting, but survival first. And once you survive, you can thrive. Do you see it? When emotion drives, clarity dies. You don't just make mistakes, you build your own cage. The new frame is simple: outcome first. So ask yourself, in 12 months, one sentence only, what am I optimizing for? What must I protect at all costs? What must I avoid no matter what? And finally, which emotion will serve this decision? Calm, discipline, courage, not just the one that shouts the loudest. If you can speak that answer out loud in under 10 seconds, you've already won half the battle. Because clarity doesn't begin with what feels urgent now. It begins with the future you refuse to betray. And now choose the smallest move that pushes the board forward. Not a grand gesture, not the illusion of control, just one clear step aligned with your outcome. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, do not be carried away by the first impression, because the first impression is the loudest liar. Outcome first, emotion last. That is how clarity begins. Chapter 2. Options are not opportunities. The world today is littered with easy options, quick clicks, shallow offers, distractions dressed as progress. And most people confuse these with real opportunities. They stay busy, but they never move forward. A true opportunity doesn't matter because it's nearby or convenient. A true opportunity matters because it aligns precisely with your number 1 goal. Think of Serena Williams. She could have played dozens of tournaments every year, but she chose fewer. Why? Because conserving her energy for the matches that mattered most gave her the edge. By saying no to options, she preserved the power to seize opportunity. And that's the lesson. More options often mean less clarity. Fewer, sharper opportunities mean more impact. So ask yourself out loud, where does this fit with my number 1 objective? If you can explain it in 10 seconds, keep it. If you can't, cut it. Yes, it hurts to let go. Saying no feels like loss, but it is the pain of surgery, not the pain of decay. One moment of discipline now saves you from years of wandering later, because clarity is not about how much you can hold. It's about how much you can release. Chapter 3. Useful is not the same as truthful. Most people believe this equation. Truth equals victory. But life doesn't reward truth. Life rewards outcomes. You can be right and still lose the deal. You can be honest and still destroy your leverage. You can cling to truth and still end up exhausted, broke, and overlooked. Think about it. You believe that replying to every email instantly makes you professional. 90 days later, you've trained everyone to treat you like a button they can press at will. You believe that saying yes to every Friday night gathering proves you're loyal. 90 days later, you're burned out, drifting further from the goals that actually matter. Seneca warned us, philosophy is not about clever words, it's about the art of living. And living is about consequences, not definitions. So here is the real question. If I believe this, where does it take me in 30, 60, 90 days? If the answer weakens you, drains you, or blinds you, then that belief, no matter how true it feels, is poison. But if the answer strengthens you, clarifies you, and aligns you with your long-term vision, then keep it, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment. And the Stoic doesn't ask, is this absolutely true? The Stoic asks, if I hold on to this, where will it lead me? That's how you separate clarity from illusion. Chapter 4. Ruthless Filtering, Escaping the Mental Storm. In Silicon Valley, a CEO once confessed, every email I read, every meeting I sit through, is another slice of clarity I lose. Today, we live inside a hurricane of noise, endless podcasts, breaking news, YouTube videos, TikTok reels, Twitter threads, LinkedIn posts, and we've been sold a lie, that the more information we consume, the better our decisions will be. But the truth? The more noise you allow in, the harder it becomes to hear your own voice. Machiavelli would cut through this chaos with two brutal questions. First, if this source is wrong, what do they lose? Do they have skin in the game? Second, will this information change my very next action? If the answer to both is no, you drop it, without guilt, without hesitation. Because clarity doesn't come from piling on more data. It comes from carving away the useless. Think of a Wall Street investor. He doesn't waste his mornings drowning in headlines. Instead, he reads one distilled report, commissioned directly from analysts who actually put capital at risk. While others are paralyzed by noise, he hears the signal. This is the discipline, to guard your mental perimeter as fiercely as a fortress wall. Every extra voice makes your own whisper harder to hear. And without that inner signal, you're not choosing your goals, you're chasing everyone else's. Ruthless filtering is not about ignorance, it's about survival. Chapter 5. Action creates clarity. Most people believe they must wait until they are certain, wait until every doubt is erased before they act. But here's the truth. Clarity never arrives before action. It only comes while you move, while you test, while you adjust. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed more than 1,000 times before the light bulb finally burned bright. If he had waited for a perfect guarantee, if he had sat in his lab saying, "I'll try when I'm sure," we might still be living by candlelight. Clarity is not a gift. It is earned through trial, through feedback, through the courage to step forward even when the path is blurred. And here's the danger. While you hesitate, someone else is already moving. While you debate, they are refining. While you search for certainty, they are building momentum. History doesn't reward the ones who waited. It rewards the ones who acted and then sharpened their clarity in motion. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? A sign? A guarantee? Remember this, the hesitant are always devoured by the decisive. Action first, clarity follows. That is the only law. Chapter 6. Breaking the Trap of False Urgency. Have you noticed that your worst decisions are almost always made under pressure to act right now? Sign this contract today, tomorrow the offer is gone. Reply to this email within the hour, or risk looking unprofessional. Decide immediately. This is your once-in-a-lifetime chance. This is not opportunity. It's manipulation in disguise. Machiavelli himself advised rulers create urgency for others, but never submit to it yourself. Because urgency clouds judgment. It narrows your vision. It tricks you into trading long-term advantage for short-term relief. So, when the pressure mounts, when the deadline feels artificial, ask the one question that pulls you above the game. Who benefits if I act fast? If the answer is not you, step back, delay, create space for clarity to breathe. A clear mind does not chase the ticking clock. It bends time to its will. It waits long enough to see the board, then moves with precision. The next time someone tries to push you into haste, remember this: urgency is their weapon, delay is your shield. And with one pause, one breath, you stop being the pawn and start playing as the strategist. Chapter 7. Reversing the script. Thinking from the enemy's view. This is the hidden art that both Machiavelli and the Stoics practiced: mental reversal. It's not enough to ask, what happens if I do this? You must also ask, what begins to rot if I do nothing? And then go deeper. If I were the one trying to make myself fail, what would I want me to believe right now? Would they hope you fall for flattery? Would they hope you panic at a false deadline? Would they hope you pick the comfortable path, the one that feels easy today, but bleeds you slowly over months and years? Picture this. You're offered a low salary, but the offer expires by the end of the day. They want you to believe, I'm special, this is my one shot. If I don't grab it now, it's gone. But the truth? They're afraid of losing you. Their urgency is a mask. If you stay calm, if you hold the frame, you can transform their fear into your leverage. You don't need aggression, you don't need drama. You simply reposition yourself until the board tilts in your favor. That's the Stoic twist. Power without noise, pressure without panic, clarity without cruelty. When you practice mental reversal, you stop reacting to the script others hand you, and you start writing your own. Chapter 8. Layered thinking. Seeing beyond the first move. The average mind asks only one question: is this right or wrong? But the strategist, the Stoic, goes further. How will this look in the eyes of others? What signal am I sending? What happens in round 2? And what culture will it create in round 3? Picture this: you're attacked in public. The easy move is to strike back immediately. It feels good, it feels powerful. But in truth, you've already lost. You've stepped into the exact frame your opponent wanted. You look rattled, reactive, easily provoked. Now imagine a different move. A short acknowledgement, one clear fact. An invitation to continue the discussion privately. The crowd witnesses not your anger, but your composure. You are no longer the victim of the frame, you are shaping it. Satya Nadella transformed leadership at Microsoft not by shouting louder, but by mastering calm presence. It wasn't silence born of weakness. It was silence used as a lever, guiding outcomes across layers. Win the outburst today, and you win applause. Win the second and third order tomorrow, and you win culture itself. That is the essence of layered thinking. That is clarity in motion. Chapter 9. The architecture of the mind. You are not multitasking, you are splintering yourself. Every time you jump from screen to screen, app to app, feed to feed, you are not doing more, you are becoming less. A cluttered room creates a cluttered mind. A home screen crowded with apps is not a tool, it's a marketplace. And in that marketplace, every stray idea, every cheap distraction is free to wander in and set up shop inside your head. So guard your state before you manage your time. State is the foundation, time is only the surface. 2 deep work sessions each day, phone in another room. 3 fixed windows to check notifications, no more. 1 walk outside, device-free, just to hear your own voice again. Because your mind is not a hallway for strangers. It is a throne room, and you decide who gets to enter. Serena Williams optimized her sleep and recovery the same way she optimized her forehand, because she understood environment is not decoration. Environment is strategy. You don't build clarity by forcing your brain harder. You build it by designing the space around it until your mind becomes a fortress, not a flea market. Conclusion: clarity doesn't turn you into a genius. It turns you into someone who cannot be manipulated. You don't need to explain. You don't need permission. You act with precision, correct quickly, and move forward. That is Stoicism in the 21st century mastery of the mind. Everything else is just consequence. If you want a one-page Stoic decision flow to pin above your desk, drop the word flow in the comments. If this video helped you, share it with a friend facing a big decision. And if you want to practice these tactics every week, subscribe. The Stoic habit isn't just a channel, it's a journey toward a mind no one else can steer.